Okay, good morning, friends. Let us begin our next topic. We have talked about what is urban hierarchy. So, we will be now talking about two concepts which are related with urban hierarchy: primate city concept and rank size rule. So first, primate city concept. And primate city concept is quite easy one. Essentially, primate city concept simply says that it is a situation. Primate city is a condition where, or presence of a city which is at least twice the size of the second ranking city in the region. So it is a situation where the rank population of rank 1 city is greater than or equal to the population of rank 2 city, or twice P2. This is essentially the basic idea of the primate city classification. Okay? So as we have seen that one of the very important themes of urban geography has been to identify the hierarchical relationship between urban settlements in a given landscape. One of the important geographers was Mark Jefferson. So what he did while examining the existing urban hierarchies in 51 countries, he developed the law of primate city in 1939. He developed a normative deductive model based on his empirical studies. What is the meaning of this term primate city? Primate city refers to country's leading city, which has grown disproportionately to others and is highly expressive of its economic capacities and national feelings. नहीं है, उसको feelings करो. National feelings. Okay. So it is highly expressive of its economic capacities and national feelings. It is characterized by the greatest population concentration and multitude of functionalities. In most cases, the sphere of influence. Sphere of influence is basically what? The area up till which the influence of the city extends throughout the country. That means have pull effects throughout the country. Thus, primate city draws away not only the most remunerative economic functions, but also the great talents of the region. That means it is leading to polarization of not only the economic resources but also the human resources in the city. As a result of which, what will happen? The city would continue to grow at much faster rate compared to the other cities of the region. Thus, primate city grows in size at the cost of other cities of lower hierarchy and attains primacy due to growing cumulative and agglomeration advantages. Since it offers best opportunity for the workforce, it accounts for large-scale immigration, ultimately becoming a hub of cultural fusion and hope of the nation. So, primate city is what? It is symbol city of the country. It is symbolic. Like for example, if you talk about Britain, the city that comes to mind is London. London is the main city that will come to our mind. Okay? So again, it is what? It is expressive of its capacities. If suppose I am thinking about Myanmar, which city would come to my mind? It is Yangon. That is the main city of Myanmar. So again, it is symbolic of what type of development has taken place in the country, what are the economic capacities of the country. Several things are reflected in the primate city. So Mark Jefferson in his survey, as we said, 51 countries found that primacy was characteristics of 46 countries. So Mark Jefferson also gave this primacy index equation. Actually, it is equation, and equation is primacy index. PI is primacy index is equal to P1 by P2. It should be greater than or equal to 2. Should be greater than or equal to 2. So primacy index is essentially what? It is the population of first ranking city. P1 here is the population of first ranking city. P2 is the population of second ranking city. So when we divide P1 by P2, it should be at least 2. Okay? Primacy index, that means can be even higher, 3 times, 4 times, depending upon which city we are talking about and which country we are talking about. So in 28 countries, he found that the primacy was of the order of more than twice than the second ranking city, while in 18 instances he found it to be greater than 3 times the second ranking city. It was thrice in size. In rest of the cases, he could not arrive at any conclusion. There he did. That means he didn't find any primate city. But you can see he found primacy to be characteristics of many countries. This concept has been found applicable in number of countries, including both the developed and developing world. For example, London is twice the size of Liverpool. Copenhagen is 9 times the second ranking city, Aarhus. In Africa, most of the countries have primacy. Like for example, Mogadishu was primate city of Somalia. Addis Ababa was primate city of Ethiopia. Kuala Lumpur was of Malaysia, Colombo, Sri Lanka. Okay? So many of them are basically what? They are primate cities. So we can keep on going. कोई मतलब इसका limit नहीं. For example, if I talk about Khartoum, और भी example लिखने हैं तो Khartoum is primate city of Sudan. If you talk about others like Nairobi of Kenya. Nairobi is primate city of Kenya. Similarly, Kinshasa. किसका है? It is Zaire. Primate city of Zaire. Similarly, Mexico City is primate city of Mexico. Montevideo is the primate city of Uruguay. Bangkok is primate city of Thailand. प्राइमेट सिटी ऑफ थाईलैंड. ये फालतू में डायग्राम लिखा हुआ है, यहाँ पे कोई डायग्राम नहीं है. ठीक है. सो अगेन दिस इज एसेंशियली द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ इंपॉर्टेंट प्राइमेट सिटीज ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. नंबर ऑफ देम अभी भी देखेंगे, अभी विल सी several of them. We'll also talk about. इसमें बहुत सारे और भी नहीं लिखे हैं. Like Paris is the primate city of France. Now, if we talk about important characteristics of primate cities, देखो ये जो डायग्राम है जो यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है, एक्चुअली दिस डायग्राम बाद में इसको मैं बनाऊंगा. This diagram is actually related with the rank size rule. Problem primate city concept में ये है that if you talk about the primate city, it is only talking about two cities. It is not talking about all the cities of the region. ठीक है. So we'll be drawing one diagram where we'll talk about the ranks that are there, and here we'll talk about the population size. ठीक है. So we will see that in rank size rule what we'll be finding, the curve would be something like this. In primate city कैसा होना चाहिए? In primate city it should be like this. So here the first ranking city is basically what? It is twice or greater than twice the size of the second ranking city. देखेंगे अभी, we'll talk about that. So that is essentially the case of the primate city. Now, in this concept of primate city, another person who has contributed is Linsky, A. Linsky. So he has further elaborated the idea of primate city and revealed various factors that are likely to generate high degree of primacy. He found that primacy was the rule in the countries with the following characteristics. So what were these characteristics? Small territorial extent, high density of population and high rates होना चाहिए यहाँ पर, rates of population growth, low per capita income, high degree of dependence on agricultural exports, general lack of economic development and employment opportunities, in many cases a former colonial status. ठीक है. All these are the important characteristics of the primate cities. ठीक है. That means from these characteristics which are stated here, you tell me, can I say primate city should be characteristics, can I say, of the developing world? Most of the developing world should have primacy. ठीक है. We will see, अभी देखते हैं. So he further concluded that since many of these attributes are typical of developing world, primacy should be rule in such countries. It should be like a rule in such countries. So this is basically the idea of primate city. समझ में आ गया? Now, if we talk about the first important thing, examine the applicability of primate city concept in India. Applicability of primate city concept in India. ठीक है. I'll give you 2 minutes. Think. That is referred to as multi-primacy, but actually this is distortion of the concept. ठीक है? It is distortion of the concept. हो सकता है, बिल्कुल हो सकता है. Okay. So suppose if I had to write this, examine the applicability of primate city concept in India. सबसे बड़ी mistake, सबसे पहला mistake would be, it is not a mistake, it is mistake in terms of time and space that you have. What people will do, they will write almost 1/4 to even half of their answer in what is primate city. Question is very clearly not asking what is primate city. इतना आसान सा कंसेप्ट है, मैंने तुम्हें 10 मिनट में समझा दिया. It is something you'll also not forget. It is so easy concept. So why do you think कि वो जो एग्जामिनर तुम्हारी कॉपी चेक कर रहा होगा उसको नहीं आता होगा? क्या जरूरत है उसे बताने की जब पूछा भी नहीं है? If I had to start it better, can I say I should have started with Linsky? He is talking about those characteristics which would make it applicable the concept of primate city. So if I had to write, can I say I would have straightforward started my introduction with, according to Linsky, if the following characteristics are present, primate city is to be a rule. And I will write what? I will write these following characteristics. इसको भी short में कर सकता हूँ. So these characteristics, या फिर इसको डायग्राम फॉर्म में कर सकता हूँ. It is up to me. अगर मुझे और शॉर्ट करना है तो सब, फॉर एग्जाम्पल बहुत सारे तरीके होते हैं. जैसे एक डायग्राम, this is one type of diagram. I could have written the characteristics here. ठीक है? So according to Linsky, what we are finding, we find that there are certain characteristics which are, if they are present, primacy would be found to be a kind of rule. ठीक है? अब इतना लिखा मैंने फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ. सेकंड पैराग्राफ मुझे मेन मुद्दे पे आ जाना चाहिए जो पूछा गया है. एंड कैन आई से, सिंस इंडिया has large territorial extent and high diversity. It does not has a primate city. It does not has the primate city at national level. Primate city at national level. ठीक है? This should be my second aspect which I'll say. और यहाँ पर इसको हाईलाइट भी कर दिया, large territorial extent, full stop. India has 3 metropolitan cities whose population is near to each other. 3 metropolitan cities whose population is near to each other. And which are these metropolitan cities? Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. Largest is Mumbai, followed by Delhi, then Kolkata. ठीक है? That is basically the case of India. But there were 6 characteristics which have been highlighted by Linsky. If I relax one of the characteristics, that is the territorial extent, what I will find? I will find that in India, primacy actually becomes a rule. ठीक है? So लिख लो इस statement को. However, as soon as the factor of territorial extent is relaxed, primacy becomes a rule in India. Full stop. It is because India displays all other characteristics highlighted by Linsky for presence of primacy. Full stop. Thus, 3 out of 4 zones have primacy, and 16 out of total states, 16 नहीं होना चाहिए, एक मिनट को, 16 ही होगा, ठीक है, because there is Telangana which has been formed. So if you talk about 16 out of total states display primacy. ठीक है? So what we find that this primacy is found at both zonal level as well as if we reduce the size further, state level, then also what we find there is presence of primacy. ठीक है? So सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं zonal level. So this is the 4 zones of India. This is the northern zone, this is the eastern, this is the western zone, and this is the southern zone. So you can very clearly see that if we look into these zonal characteristics of India, primacy was found in northern zone, where Delhi was the primate city of northern zone. Primacy was present in the western zone, where Mumbai was the primate city of the western zone. It was also characteristic of the eastern zone, where Kolkata was the primate city of the eastern zone. However, there was no such presence of primate city in the southern zone. In the southern zone, what we find, there are 3 cities whose population is near to each other. And these 3 cities are Chennai, Bangalore and हैदराबाद। तो इस डायग्राम को फटाफट बनाओ। इसमें एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए क्या है, अभी मैं कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन इसमें एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए है क्या बताओ। 4 जोन है। दिस ये रेड वाले को इन दिस यू कैन लीव, बिकॉज ये डायग्राम एक्चुअली में मेट्रोपॉलिटन रीजन्स का डायग्राम है। सो दिस रेड वंस यू कैन लीव, ये बाद में हम बात करेंगे व्हेन वी विल टॉक अबाउट द मेट्रोपॉलिटन रीजन्स। एट दैट पॉइंट हम इसको बात करेंगे, बिकॉज राइट नाउ वी सी दैट सम स्मॉलर और सम second level metropolitan cities are also carving out their niches or regions. So वो secondary regions उसमें बनाए गए हैं, like the case of Ahmedabad, like others, like for example the case of Pune, the case of, if you talk about Indore, Nagpur, ठीक है, this is twin cities of Kolkata, Lucknow, हाँ कोलकाता वगैरह, कानपुर एंड लखनऊ, ठीक है, दिस इज जयपुर एरिया। सो दैट इज अ थिंग, बट यहाँ पर हमें हमारा जो एस्पेक्ट है, वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट, यू कैन सी इन द वेस्टर्न जोन महाराष्ट्र इज द मेन सिटी, दिल्ली in the northern zone and Kolkata in the eastern zone. Why they are primate cities? Because all other characteristics that Linsky has highlighted are found in case of India. India, the development levels are uneven. India depends on agrarian products for export. There is high dependence. Okay? Now it is changing, but it has been so. India is mainly agrarian nation. High population density, high population growth, all the characteristics which have been cited by Linsky are to be found in India. That means ये सभी जगह पर applicable है, but एक exception मिल रहा है हमें, and this exception is what? The southern zone. ठीक है, याद है हमने एक perspectives in human geography में एक क्वेश्चन किया था, हार्वे का स्टेटमेंट याद है, where Harvey said that there is no science which is neutral. Do you remember? And he was of the view that the problem with the theory is that geographers, they use the theory, they test application of the theory, and as they test application of the theory, they find that the theory is more or less applicable. There might be some exceptions. These exceptions can be explained from the particular history and geography of that area. And again, once they have applied, they would become very satisfied that they have done some scientific work. The task of geography should be what? Not to just explain what is there, but also to explore what are better options and work towards achievement of those better options. ठीक है? So this is a very good example of what Harvey was talking about. अभी हम देख रहे हैं, in India, there Linsky is saying that if you have these characteristics, high density of population, high rates of population growth, low per capita income, high degree of dependence on agricultural export, general lack of economic development and employment opportunities, and former colonial status. ये सभी चीजें मिल रही हैं. That means India should have primacy. It should have primacy. The only problem was its territorial extent is large. That is why at national level we are not finding presence of primacy. But as soon as we go from all India to zone, what we find? Primacy becomes a rule. Out of 4 zones, we find that 3 of them have primacy, because all these characteristics are to be found. What is the exception? The southern zone. Southern zone doesn't have primacy. Primarily, the southern zone doesn't have primacy because of it having distinct ethnic regions and aspirations of the people related with that ethnicity. Okay? So you will be finding that a Tamilian is very proud of his culture. Same is the case of if you talk about Malayali, or same is the case of Telugu culture, Kannada culture. Okay? There are their own aspirations, and primate city becomes what? Or that main city, it becomes a symbol of those aspirations. Okay? So because of the inherent regionalism, strong regionalism that is present in the southern India, we find that there is no such primate city present in the southern zone. Here 3 cities have near equal population: Bangalore, Hyderabad and Chennai. ठीक है? They have near equal population. So इसको लिख लेते हैं इस पॉइंट को. Thus, at zonal level, Delhi was the primate city of northern zone. Kolkata of eastern zone, and Mumbai of western zone. Full stop. The southern zone lacks a primate city, as there are three cities whose population is near to each other. ब्रैकेट में वो 3 cities लिख सकते हो: बैंगलोर, हैदराबाद एंड चेन्नई. Full stop. Here, absence of primacy is related to presence of distinct ethnic regions, each having their own primate cities. ठीक है? So that is basically the case of zonal level. पैराग्राफ चेंज कर लो. Since Linsky's criteria are met, primacy appears to be rule even at state level. Full stop. Thus, 16 states displayed primacy, where in West Bengal, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Andhra, the primacy was the primacy index was over 3. Index was over 3. Full stop. It was a rule. It was a rule in underdeveloped northeast India, where all states with exception of Nagaland have presence of primate cities. Full stop. In the valley of Kashmir, Srinagar had the status of or has the status of primate city. ठीक है, तो हमने रीजन पहले ही लिख दिया था क्यों प्राइमेसी मिल रहा है. तो प्राइमेसी मिलने के लिए हमें एक्सप्लेन नहीं करना है हर जगह पर, ठीक है, बिकॉज हमने पहले उसे बता दिया. हमें यहां पर क्या एक्सप्लेन करना है, एक्सेप्शंस, क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है एट सम प्लेसेस इफ इट इज ट्रू, बिकॉज वो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स तो सदर्न जोन में भी है बट इट इज नॉट फाउंड. सो व्हाई, बिकॉज देयर आर डिस्टिंक्ट एथनिक रीजन्स विथ देयर ओन कल्चरल एस्पिरेशंस, where primate city becomes the symbol of those aspirations. आगे लिखो, change the paragraph. Primacy characteristics, however, were absent. However, primacy characteristics, are absent in almost all northern states. As well as eastern states like Bihar and Odisha. So what we are saying, if we look into these northern states, अभी हम राजस्थान की बात नहीं कर रहे, ठीक है, I am leaving Rajasthan here. तो राजस्थान को I will explain differently. So if we take northern states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, all of these northern states, what we find, there is absence of primacy. So what could be the reason for this absence of primacy? The main reason is the shadow effect of Delhi. Delhi is casting here a kind of urban shadow effect. The growth of Delhi is so strong that it is not allowing other cities to grow in this northern region. And because of that, they have absence of primacy. Okay? For example, suppose if you are living in Lucknow, you have option of, or you think of preparing for civil services. अब सिविल सर्विसेज की प्रिपरेशन करनी है तो देयर आर टू ऑप्शंस. एक ऑप्शन है कि अपने सिटी में ही रह के तैयारी करें. दूसरा ऑप्शन एक और है, देयर इज अ हब ऑफ प्रिपरेशन इलाहाबाद. एंड थर्ड ऑप्शन इज यू कैन गो टू दिल्ली. You will be finding that majority of the students would prefer to go to Delhi rather than to remain in the same city or to go to Allahabad. Delhi has such a strong pull that it is not allowing other centers to develop in the nearby. Okay? So same thing which we are talking about here, Delhi's pull is so strong, sphere of influence is so strong that there is no other city to compete with Delhi. And thus what happens here, there is absence of primacy. There would be many cities, like in Uttar Pradesh, if you look into, you'll be finding Kanpur, Agra, Allahabad, Lucknow. There are many cities whose population is near to each other. Okay? So in these areas what we find, This is the main factor which is leading to absence of primacy. Can I say same thing happens in case of Bihar and Odisha? Their nearness to Kolkata and the effect of Kolkata is not allowing such a city to develop in Bihar and Odisha as well. Okay? So these are the main factors due to which it is absent in the northern and eastern belt. So likh lo. In case of the northern belt, presence of Delhi casts an urban shadow effect. Which doesn't allows other big cities to grow in the area. Full stop. Similar is the effect of Kolkata in the eastern belt or in the eastern zone, due to which Bihar and Odisha does not have primate city. Okay? So this is the main reason why we find northern and eastern belt mein primate city is absent. Other area where primate city is absent is Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. These are the other states where primate city is absent. Now, if we look into why there is absence of primate city in these states, main reason is because these states were formed by merger of several princely states. Each of these princely states had their own headquarters. And that is the main reason why we find that there is absence of such any dominant city. Historically, there is no such dominant city which would have influence over the entire states of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. But very clearly, we find that after independence, once these were formed as single state, what has been found? There is tendency of growth of primate city. Like for example, in Rajasthan, Jaipur is fast developing as the primate city. ठीक है, so लिख लेते हैं इसको भी. There is absence of primacy also in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Full stop. Here it is related to these states being historically divided into number of princely states, comma, each of which had their own headquarters. Full stop. Thus, after they were merged to form singular states, comma, there was absence of a dominant city. Full stop. However, it is important to note that after independence, these states have shown tendencies for development of primate cities. Tendencies for development of primate cities. Like Jaipur is fast developing primate city of Rajasthan. Okay. So these states also didn't had the primate cities. If you talk about in southern India, there was one state which didn't had primacy, and it was Kerala. So change the paragraph. Likho. In southern India, Kerala did not had primacity. As Kerala had 3 million plus cities whose population was near to each other. Okay? The two topmost cities here, Kochi and Trivandrum. So again, Kerala में भी प्राइमेसी नहीं है. Why केरला में प्राइमेसी नहीं है? क्या रीजन हो सकता है? Because Kerala has number of growth poles in the form of ports. ठीक है? So it is essentially related to presence of more than one growth pole in the form of ports. Okay, so here Kerala has absence of primacy. Change the paragraph. In northeast Nagaland also did not had primate city. So why Nagaland did not have primate city? Because of high ethnic diversity. It is related to high ethnic diversity of Nagaland. ठीक है, so उसमें distinct ethnic regions है नागालैंड में. Because of that, what we find, there is no such primate city which has developed. So this is essentially the application of primate city concept in case of India. So we can conclude that primate city concept is what? More or less applicable in case of India. Thus it is more or less applicable with some exceptions in India. ठीक है, so that is the basic idea of primate city. एक और क्वेश्चन करते हैं. Write a critique of the primate city concept. Write a critique of primate city concept. I'll give you 2 minutes, think. क्योंकि प्राइमेट सिटी की डेफिनेशन क्या है? व्हाट इज प्राइमेट सिटी? प्राइमेट सिटीज हम नहीं बात कर रहे हैं, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्राइमेट सिटी। ठीक है, नंबर 1 जो होता है वो एक ही होता है, इट इज ट्रू। ठीक है, सो सम स्कॉलर्स आर यूजिंग multiple primacy and these type of words. Okay, it is essentially wrong to say, because the essence of primate city concept was presence of one city which dominates all over the landscape. Okay, so we have to write a critique of primate city concept. Critique of the primate city concept. Now what we find that when it comes to primate city, one thing is very clear, that the idea has been empirically proven idea. Like for example, Mark Jefferson, he made these studies in 51 countries. 51 countries, and what he found, that in 28 in 28 there was presence of primacy index of greater than 2. In 18 out of this, he found that primacy index was over 3. Over 3. Okay, so it is what? It is an empirically valid idea. It has been empirically proven idea. But there are some issues which emerge. Despite this empirical validity, there are some issues which emerge. One important issue that emerges is the theoretical background of primate city is what? It is weak. Theoretical background of the primate city is weak. Okay? Why we are saying weak? Because it is unable to properly explain or highlight all the factors which would lead to primacy. ठीक है, thus अगर हम इसका एक एग्जाम्पल दें, A Linsky cites certain characteristics and says that if these characteristics are present, then primacy would be found. Okay, this is what Linsky says. Certain characteristics for presence of primacy. Full stop. These characteristics establish relationship between direct relationship between underdevelopment and primacy. Full stop. Based on the idea of Linsky, it can be concluded that primacy was the characteristic of developing countries. Characteristic of developing countries. Full stop. However, when empirical studies are conducted, it is found that primacy was found across both developed and developing world countries. Developing world countries. Full stop. For example, primacy was characteristic of Britain, France, and even in India, where both developed and underdeveloped states have shown primacy. Full stop. Thus, the direct relationship which Linsky tries to establish between primacy and underdevelopment is very hazy. So it is not clear. So it is weak foundation. Theory, if you talk about, is weak. So we are unable to explain here what are the factors which have led to emergence of primacy in the developed world. ठीक है? लिंस्की के आइडिया को यूज करके हम डेवलपिंग वर्ल्ड तो एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं, but we are unable to explain why it is also present in the developed world countries. ठीक है? So again, that is one of the aspects of the primate cities. Change the paragraph, आगे लिखो. Critics have also argued against the claims of universal applicability of the primate city concept. Full stop. Followers of the primate city idea treat the non-applicable cases as exceptions. Exceptions related to peculiar history and geography of those countries. ठीक है? For example, India has absence of primate city at national level. at national level. Same is the case of Pakistan. Okay? So again, what we find, the authors or the followers of the primate city concept are trying to say they are simply exceptions. India को explain कर सकते हैं territorial extent के factor से and the diversity. That is why India doesn't has the primate city. Same is if you talk about Pakistan, there also you'll be finding there are distinct regions. There is Punjab region, there is the Sindh region. So there is distinct regions which are present, again, which can be thought as the causes why there is absence of primacy in Pakistan. Because Pakistan also displays all the characteristics of having a primate city. Pakistan also has a small territorial extent. Despite that, what you find, there is absence of primacy in Pakistan. Okay? So again, here one camp argues that it is related with what? The exceptional circumstances. The other camp is not convinced. So in this case, the debate remains inconclusive. Likh lo. Thus, here, the debate remains inconclusive as the critics are not convinced. Critics are not convinced. Okay? So that is one aspect of primate city. One more aspect of primate city is that presence of primate city is thought of as something which is unwanted. Okay? It is unnecessary, unwanted. Why? Can I say because presence of a primate city is highlighting the uneven development which has taken place in that country. It is expressive of the regional imbalances which exists in the country. So again, it is what? It is an unwanted phenomena. So आगे लिखो, paragraph change करके. Presence of primate cities is thought of as an unwanted phenomena. Unwanted phenomena. Yeah, undesirable phenomena. Full stop. Presence of primate cities is indicative of imbalanced regional growth which is occurring in a nation. Imbalanced regional growth which is occurring in a nation. Okay? So when there is primate city, again it is undesirable. That means India में अगर primate cities हैं, so they are essentially what? It is an undesirable situation. We will see that this has led to what? It has led to several type of problems emerging in case of India. Like for example, तुम लोगों को एक मटेरियल मिला होगा, जिसको हमने पहले भी देखा है. If there is primate cities in India, you can see 3 cities have how much of population? Total urban population 13% of total urban population. 5 cities have almost 10% of total urban population. Other 11 cities have 7.7% of the total urban population. Okay? So this very clearly is what? Can I say this very clearly tells me that it is something which is not needed. We would have wanted we would have liked our urbanization to be more spread, more decentralized. If our urbanization was more decentralized, you tell me, will we be facing so many urban problems? अभी हमारा एक प्रॉब्लम अगर हम देखें, one problem is the presence of slums. Why slums are created? Because most of the people are migrating towards few cities. These cities, they become so much congested that ultimately they are unable to provide affordable and cheap housing to the migrants. And migrants have to settle in the slums. Can I say, if these people would have gone to other smaller level cities also, clearly what would have happened? There wouldn't be slums. The population would have been more spread. Okay? Why they are coming only in these cities? Because development opportunities are concentrated in these cities. Employment opportunities are mainly present in these few cities. So presence of primate city is expressive of what? Expressive of such kind of regionally imbalanced growth which is taking place, which is bound to create future problems. Okay? It is bound to create future problems. Like future problems of one type of problem, common problem would be urbanization problem. Problems of urbanization. Okay? So that is basically you will be writing when the question is on the critique of the primate city. So primate city में main problem वही है, उसका theoretical base is what? It is weak. And because of that there comes problems in the application. Some places it is found to be applicable, some it is not found. So one debate which exists is about the universal applicability, वहाँ पर inconclusive है. Second debate which exists is about the relationship of underdevelopment and primacy. But we find that it is not necessary that underdeveloped areas are only having primacy. There are developed areas also which have primacy. That means presence of primacy can be related also with historical factors. Not just if you talk about the economic factors. Like for example, if you look into the case of London, it is essentially what? It is the historical center of Britain. It is cultural historical center of, has been for very long, for centuries. It was the cultural historical center of Britain. India में ही देखें तो many of the cities, like for example, if you look into Ahmedabad, primate city of Gujarat, what we find that in case of Ahmedabad, it has medieval origin. It was the important city since medieval times in the region. So it is not necessarily always related with the economic factors, factors of underdevelopment. It can be result of several cultural factors as well. And many of these things are what? They are unexplained in the concept of primate cities. They are not properly explained. So the relationship which should have been sought and explained properly, that is the main weak link of the primate city concept. और primate city concept में और कुछ criticize करने के लिए नहीं है. Because वो क्या रहा है? There are countries where the if you talk about first ranking city is more than twice the second ranking city. अभी सही में सब बहुत सारी जगह पर मिल रहा है. Problem arises when they try to explain कि ऐसा क्यों है. So at many places what they are explaining is applicable. But at several places what they are explaining is inapplicable. Okay? So that is basically the case of the primate city. Moving on, we'll talk about the rank size rule. अभी देखो ये वाला क्वेश्चन मैंने 500 में भी नहीं करवाया, जो आज मैंने तुम लोगों का भी ये करवाया. ये नया क्वेश्चन है नेक्स्ट 500 के लिए. ऐसा कहाँ कर रहा है वो, ऐसा कहाँ कह रहा है वो, ऐसा बोल ही नहीं रहा, वो कैपिटलिज्म भी नहीं बोला, कुछ भी नहीं बोला, वो सिंपली एक फैक्ट बता रहा है कि देयर इज अ सिचुएशन वेयर द फर्स्ट रैंकिंग सिटी इज ट्वाइस द सेकेंड रैंकिंग सिटी, ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ इट्स इंपॉर्टेंस। लिंस्की आता है एंड लिंस्की ट्राइज टू एक्सप्लेन कि ऐसा क्यों होता है, सो ही ट्राइज टू प्रोवाइड अ थ्योरेटिकल बेस to the concept of primate city provided by Mark Jefferson. अब वहां पर डिबेट हम कर रहे हैं कि the theoretical base which has been provided, is it true or not, ठीक है। So Linsky tries to establish relationship between underdevelopment and primacy, but the relationship is not so much clear. We cannot say that Linsky basically क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा है, Linsky is trying to say that primacy is inversely proportional to development, यही बोल रहा है। But the basic idea he is trying to establish, it is not found, because we find that many developed countries also have primacy. Mark Jefferson himself found in his 51 countries, many of which were developed countries, ठीक है। So there we are saying that the theoretical foundations are weak, ठीक है, that is basically। और वहां पर because they are not, it is not like their perspective is colonial और capitalist, ऐसा नहीं है, उसमें फालतू में unnecessary मत लेके आओ। ओके, रैंक साइज रूल की बात करें, so rank size rule बहुत सिंपल सा एक कंसेप्ट है, and what simply the rank size rule says that if you want to know, suppose the population of a particular city, एक city का population, suppose if I have to understand, what you can do, population of n ranking city would be basically what, it would be P1 upon n. You divide the population of the largest city with the rank and you will get the population of the nth ranking city. Why? Because he finds in his analysis, in his empirical studies, that the population of the first ranking city is twice the population of second ranking city. It is found to be thrice the population of third ranking city. It is found to be 4 times the population of fourth ranking city, and so on, ठीक है। So it was G.K. Ziff who found this theory. देखते हैं, rank size rule. A great deal of interest has been shown by urban geographers in identifying the hierarchical relationships between urban settlements in a given landscape. Rank size rule proposed by G.K. Ziff in 1949 attempts to express this relationship in a more precise mathematical terms. So, it states that if all the urban settlements over a given landscape are ranked in descending order of population, the highest ranking city is twice greater than the second ranking city, thrice the third, and likewise. Thus, mathematically, the urban hierarchy can be expressed as P1 is greater than P1 by P2, P1 P3. So again, what we'll be finding, it would be found to be like this. Thus the rank size rule index, actually ये P1 P2 नहीं होना चाहिए, एक मिनट को, 2 होना चाहिए, 2 here it should be 3 and up to n. So if you want to know the rank size rule index, it is what? Here it is Pn, population of the nth ranking city is equal to P1 by its divided by its rank. So this formula will give me the population of that nth ranking city. So here P1 is the first ranking city, N is the rank, and Pn, capital P hoga, is the city whose rank is sought. For instance, if the largest city has population of 3 million, the second largest will have 1.5 million, third largest will have 1 million, and 10th largest merely 3 lakhs. Okay? So that is what we simply mean by this idea of rank size rule. So graphical representation of rank size rule on logarithmic scale prepared for cities of England gives a satisfactory result. So he ultimately prepared a graph to show the cities of England. Here is the rank on the logarithmic scale. So this is the theoretical curve of rank size rules. First ranking, second ranking, इसको थोड़ा सा ऐसा बनाना ना कि the spacing यहाँ पर, see the thing is that here you actually spread the spacing between first and second, के बीच की spacing को spread करो, and here you make the rank 10. First और second को you spread here like this, and then you cluster others. So like this. So this is essentially what? This is the theoretical result of rank size rule. It should be like this. The graph should be something like this. What was found in case of London or in case of England? It was found that this was London. So the only place where it was violated, it was essentially where it was violated at near this London. where the second ranking city was a bit, it was primacy index, that means it was over 2 in case of London. So it was more than twice actually. But still it is like this. And after this, एक मिनट रुक जाओ, यहाँ पर नहीं, सेकंड हमने यहाँ पर बनाया ना, एक मिनट यहाँ पर बनाना है, ठीक है. So after that it is found it was like this. So the curve which they got in case of London, it was very, very close to the theoretical result of the rank size rule. This was the cities of England arranged in descending order. Descending order of their population size. Of their population size. ठीक है. So this is essentially what was found in case of Britain, in case of England, cities of England, which you can see is very, very close to what is the theoretical idea of rank size rule. Now, if we look into the actual other empirical evidences which we have attained from the world, we find that there is presence of two type of curves are very, very common. One type of curve which is commonly found is referred to as the binary curve. Binary curve. So in binary curve what happened? There are two cities whose population would be what? Near to each other. And after that, it obeys more or less like the rank size rule. This is one type of curve which is very commonly found. So ये green वाला जो है, this is what? This is the binary curve. This red one is the ranking curve for England cities. While if you talk about, there are other curves also. This is the stepped hierarchy curve. Stepped hierarchy curve. So अगर stepped hierarchy में हमें क्या दिखाई पड़ता है? Very commonly it was found that rather than like this, there was at particular ranks, there was clustering of many cities. ठीक है. So एक size class में there is not one but many located like this. Here there are many which are clustering at a particular size class. So this type of curve is referred to as the stepped hierarchy curve. So again, it is not very far away from what was visualized in the rank size rule. We'll see ये जो stepped hierarchy curve है, it is very close to the central place theory. Central place theory इसी तरह की hierarchy की बात कर रहा है. So it is not very, very far away from what the rank size rule is also talking about. Binary curve is very much like the rank size rule curve. The difference is rank size rule mein there is only one first ranking city. Here there is two first ranking cities. So that is why it is referred to as the binary curve. Okay? So again, in real world what we find that there were many results, empirical results, which were near to what was talked about by the rank size rule. The theoretical foundations will not be found everywhere. The theoretical results would not be found everywhere. There would be some difference because every country has its own particular situation. Every region has its own peculiar geography and history. But there were many situations which were found very close. You can see stepped is also close to what this is talking about. इसको stepped और इसके बीच में difference I will explain later on when we'll finish off our central place theory. तो जब हम central place theory finish कर लेंगे तो we'll talk about one question that how rank size rule contradicts the idea of central place theory. ठीक है? There we will compare what central place theory is saying and what rank size rule is saying and how they are different, how even contradictory at places. ठीक है? So we will see that ये जो blue वाला मैंने बनाया, the stepped hierarchy is basically what? It is the hierarchy which is found according to central place theory. Like for example in Germany, where Christoller conducted the empirical experiments, it was found that southern Germany, it had such type of stepped hierarchy of cities. Okay? So that is basically what is the rank size rule talking about. Rank size rule is saying that there is a hierarchical relationship which exists between the cities of a given area. And this hierarchical relationship is what type? The first ranking city is twice the second ranking, thrice the third ranking, then 4 times 4 ranking and so on. Okay? So that is basically the case of the rank size rule. Now, number of things emerge that यहाँ पर देख सकते हो इसमें लिखा हुआ है लंदन वाली बात कर रहे थे. It has been established that the population of the first ranking city London is greater than the rank size rule suggested it should be, but the trend of lower order towns roughly conforms to the rule. जैसा भी हमने उसमें बनाया. In a generalized representation of deviation rank size distribution in a country, few facts of relevance emerge. In this graph, the cities showing no trend of primacy and one emerging independent of each other will represent a binary curve, जो भी हमने बताया. Whereas a stepped like pattern is followed if cities are clustered over a single hierarchy and thus conform to the rank size rule. It is also a variant of rank size rule, we can say. Stepped hierarchy. Okay? Thus, the rank size rule finds clear approximation in countries where forces of diversification to that of unification balance each other. That means where there is balance between centrifugal and centripetal forces, in those areas what we find there is rank size rule applicability. It would produce regularity in settlement size and number. Such an extension of rank size rule is thus manifestation of lack of regional disparities and presence of more than one growth poles. Thus rank size rule is characteristic of developed countries rather than the developing ones, where equal distribution of economic opportunities are found and the level of physical infrastructure is nearly uniform within the country. All the cities have well-developed infrastructure. That means if they have well-developed infrastructure, they would be able to attract investment according to their threshold population, customer population, which they have. That means in all the cities there would be availability of employment opportunities. Okay? So in all the cities there is availability of employment opportunities. Question arises, how then some of them become higher ranking while others become low ranking. क्या रीजन हो सकते हैं? It is related with the functions they are performing. You tell me, can I say the ones which are performing service based functions, can I say they would be higher up in the hierarchy? The ones which are performing the manufacturing functions, they would be present in the intermediate part of the hierarchy, while the ones which are performing or based upon primary sector functions, they would be found lower in the hierarchy. Lower in the hierarchy. ठीक है? So primary sector में income कम होंगे, and because of less income what will happen? There would be less demand for the products, and thus it would have less employment opportunities, such cities. Manufacturing में people will have more income, they will have more demand for other things, and thus it will attract more number of people. There will be more employment opportunities present. When there is service based cities, they would be very diversified, they would have lots of high income groups, there would be high demand for several products. Thus they would be able to generate lots of employment opportunities. Thus such type of cities would become the biggest cities of the region. Okay? So very importantly, we will see that the idea of GK Ziff was based upon, he explained, he tried to provide a theoretical basis to his empirical statement which he provided. So what he did, he talks about that such a hierarchy emerges. Hierarchy is emerging as a result of the functional nature of the cities, functional characteristics of the cities. Cities perform two types of functions. Cities perform two types of functions. So these two types of functions are economic and special. Economic and special functions. दो तरह के functions cities are performing. So economic functions कौन से होते हैं? Economic functions are like we talked about primary, secondary or tertiary. But cities also have special functions, like किसी region में किसी city का अपना importance होगा, historical importance, cultural importance, that is also a kind of function. ठीक है? So हम देखेंगे जब compare करेंगे क्रिस्टॉलर और rank size rule को, तो we will see that Christoller's model is essentially what? Christoller's model is just economic model. Central place theory model is just economic model. तो अगर मैं केवल इकोनॉमिक मॉडल लेता हूं, तो अगर मैं मान लो केवल तीन ही सर्विसेज, तीन ही फंक्शंस की बात करता हूं, ऑल्दो सर्विस में कई तरह के फंक्शंस होंगे, ठीक है, विद इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग देयर वुड बी मेनी टाइप ऑफ फंक्शंस, बट मैं मान लेता हूं केवल तीन फंक्शंस हैं, तो क्या मैं कह सकता हूं कि देयर वुड बी प्रेजेंस ऑफ दिस टाइप ऑफ हायरार्की? ये सर्विस वाले हो गए. Here there should be manufacturing related, and here there should be what? Primary function related. ठीक है, तो ये क्रिस्टॉलर की हायरार्की हो जाएगी. बट अभी मैं इसमें एक और फंक्शन को ऐड कर दूं, दैट इज स्पेशल फंक्शन. ठीक है, इकोनॉमिक के साथ स्पेशल भी ऐड कर दिया, तो कैन आई से इन दोनों के बीच में डिफरेंस हो सकता है? कैन वी से दैट इन दोनों के बीच में डिफरेंस आ जाएगा, इसके और इसके बीच में डिफरेंस आ जाएगा. सो व्हाट विल हैपन, द कर्व वुड देन बिकम लाइक दिस, a more straight curve would emerge rather than a stepped hierarchy. ठीक है, बात समझ में आया क्यों, why it was like a straight curve and not like the stepped. So हम इसको बाद में क्वेश्चन को करेंगे and we'll compare this with the Christoller's idea of central place, that how both of them are in a way contradicting each other. So what is the contradiction between them, what is the difference between them? So we'll find that according to GK Ziff, cities perform two type of functions, economic functions and special functions. So आगे लिख लो इसमें, the cities involved with primary functions or primary sector functions find themselves lower in the hierarchy, while the secondary activities based cities are intermediate, and tertiary based are found at the top of the hierarchy. Full stop. Since cities also have some special functions to perform, further differentiation is created in their ranks. Due to which a smooth curve emerges in the rank size rule. ठीक है, so that is basically the theoretical foundation of the rank size rule. But we'll see that one problem with the rank size rule is that Ziff has not very clearly elaborated this theoretical foundations of the rank size rule concept. जैसे हम देखेंगे क्रिस्टोलर ने पूरा एक मॉडल बनाया. There he tried to establish several relationships, explained every details of his model. Many of these remain under-explained in case of the Ziff theory. ठीक है, so what we'll be finding that the rank size rule main उसका critique क्या है, that rank size rule is theoretical base is weak. ठीक है, so इसके बारे में लिखते हैं, change the paragraph. The rank size rule concept finds clear approximation in the developed world countries. Full stop. Despite this applicability, the theoretical foundations of the rank size rule remain weak. As Ziff doesn't provide a clear relationship between the type of functions performed and their rank. Their rank. He should have more elaborately described the special functions. What are these special functions which are performed by the cities? But here he is not properly explaining these special functions, and that makes the theory not very clear. It is unable to link or establish this relationship between functions and ranks. Okay, so this is basically the idea of rank size rule. A question लिखो. Rank size rule is a desirable phenomenon. Is a desirable phenomena. Explain. I'll give you 2 minutes, think. ओके, कैसे लिखेंगे इसे? Can we say first of all that where there is applicability of rank size rule, we find that in those countries, or these countries are developed world countries. Developed world countries are present. Okay? For rank size rule to be applicable, okay, for it to be applicable, what are the conditions which are required for its applicability? Can I say for it to be applicable, it is clearly demanding that the urban population is more evenly distributed? Can we say that? It is more evenly distributed across all size classes of towns. ठीक है? One thing, this means, can I say this means that in such a situation there would be less urban problems faced? It is clearly indicative of fact what? That there would be less urban problems would be faced. Like slums would be less, services would be better provided, there would be less congestion, pollution in the cities. So in such a case, the cities would be facing lesser congestion, lesser overpopulation. That means there would be less number of problems in the cities. So that is one thing. Now, for this to take place, for this situation to be true, can I say there should be presence of multiple growth foci. आरपी मिश्रा मॉडल देखा था हमने. Multiple growth foci at various hierarchical at various hierarchical levels. That means here there would be presence of what? Highest level cities would be the growth poles. Below that there would be presence of growth centers. Below that there would be presence of growth points. Below that there would be presence of service centers, and below that there would be presence of central villages. ठीक है? So there is better what? There is better distribution of the growth foci. So you tell me, if it is so, will it also mean that the development would be more balanced, regional development? Can we say that? The development would be more balanced regional development would be found. ठीक है? Presence of this type of situation, you tell me, can I say this also indicates that all the sectors of the economy are developed? Can we say that? Is it indicative of the fact that all sectors of economy are healthy and growing? Healthy and growing. That means in such a situation, what would be the outcome? Can I say sectoral imbalances would be lower? What will happen with the per capita income? It would be higher. Poverty levels should be low. Okay? So the outcome would be that sectoral imbalances would be lower, higher per capita income and low level of poverty. Okay? Thus we can finally conclude that rank size rule presence is what? It is a desirable phenomena. This is what any economy would desire, any country would desire. That the development is what? It is more even, more spread form of development. ठीक है? So this is basically the case of the rank size rule. आज बंद करते हैं अभी के लिए. Tomorrow again हमारा same time पर class होगा.